Hi, this is Adele from Naked.Divorce, and I want to talk a little bit about some of the challenges of telling adult children when you're going through a grey divorce. So, just because you're going through a grey divorce at the later stage of life, children are still children. And depending on how emotionally mature that person is, they're going to potentially take it as badly as a younger child would as well. So there's really an emotional impact there for a lot of adult children that go through divorce as well, and don't expect just because they're adults and maybe having their own relationships or their own marriages or their own children that they will necessarily be super understanding, because people are still ultimately going to prioritize their own lives and their own kind of emotional unit and happiness, and you suddenly destabilizing that, you've jumped out of a box that they had allocated for you, and they might not be super understanding. And it's not really their fault. It might be based on their own maturity. So a client that I had recently, her two adult children handled her divorce very, very differently. Her and her husband had been married for 33 years, and the one son was very understanding. But he had a really mature relationship. He was a very empathetic sort of character. He felt very stable and secure within his job and his own life. And he was at a different level of maturity and could allow his mum to kind of fall apart without it having anything to do with him. Whereas the other child was massively affected, really destabilized by everything. Couldn't handle the fact that his mum, who was strong and safe and secure, had suddenly really changed into somebody that was going through grief and struggling with something. And, that really, it impacted him really badly. So I think, there are kind of 5 or so concerns that I would really be thinking about if I was telling my adult children. The first thing is the emotional maturity of each individual that you're telling. Like, where are they at in their lives? Like, what are they personally dealing with? And how much I share with them would also be really important based on that. Like, I think sharing only what you need to share so that they don't ever feel like they need to now, take care of you and look after everything, I think is key. The second thing is they don't need to be pulled into all the drama and all the stuff associated to why this has happened. They can literally just understand that, we've grown apart, or, we haven't been happy for a few years now, and I think it's best if we actually make this transition, but, nothing changes with how much we love you, and, we're still going to be co-parenting and look forward to, continuing to be your parents and your future grandparents to your kids, and so on and so forth. The next thing is to be aware of that role reversal, because that can be a hugely unsettling thing for so many adult children. They kind of feel like they suddenly need to be the parent. And, for kids that are more emotionally vulnerable, even if they are adults, that pressure to suddenly look after somebody that is going through trauma it's too heavy. And this is where it's really key to make sure that you get your own emotional support through this. Don't lean on your adult children or overshare things that they don't really need to know about. It's not only not appropriate, it's probably not something that they can handle. And that brings me to my third point, which is that loss of the family unit can still be destabilizing, even if you're an adult child. Particularly if your parents have been married for like 25, 30 plus years. This unit suddenly dissolving is hugely destabilizing, and it can make you sort of question your own feeling about relationships and how stable you think marriage is, or, how secure you feel about relationships in your life. The next thing is they could be really just worried about quite practical things. So sometimes sharing what your plan is and what you're doing next, and, where you're going to be living and what you're going to be doing, and sharing future plans in a positive and uplifting way can be helpful. Sharing too many of the worries and concerns and panics, and particularly about, the level of uncertainty financially, healthcare wise, living arrangement wise, all that can be too much of a heavy burden for your adult kids, where they suddenly feel role reversal wise that they need to be the parent or the adult in the situation. And, conflicting narratives really comes into it. Like in one case, dad says this, in the other case, mum says this. I think aligning with your soon-to-be ex-spouse is really key, so that there's just clarity in what the narrative is. And if you can maintain some kind of continuity, it eases a lot of that distress and trauma response that we see for people that come out of a kind of aging divorce. So I think I just wanted to offer those few ideas there, but don't get me wrong, a grey divorce is really challenging to go through. And a lot of our clients that go through that stage, they display almost all the signs of post-traumatic stress disorder. So if you feel yourself absolutely losing it, yeah, it's kind of fully understandable. It's a hugely destabilizing time of life, and getting help is a really good idea. Okay, take care.